All right, Veronica, thank you for joining us. When it comes to health, it's also children's health, it's mental health, it's the determinants of those health, whether it comes to education, whether it comes to our family structures. And here, on the show, it's about talking about issues that are local to people here in Southern Indiana. And I just got some news from a number of different sources at once coming at me that something called Open Door Youth Services is facing eviction, and it's on the agenda for the commissioners meeting in Floyd County tonight. And with such urgency, I didn't have time to necessarily do all the research on this. So wanted to bring someone on who had some awareness of it, who I know is going to be involved with the commissioners meeting in some way tonight, less going or being supportive. And I found you. So Veronica, do you want to introduce yourself as well as tell us what is Open Door Youth Services? How is it related to the commissioners meeting tonight? What is why would they be facing eviction? What would that do to them? Why is this something we should be concerned about or not?
Well, thanks, Tim, for inviting me. It's great to see you. I'm a Floyd County resident and a parent and someone who tries to stay involved with civic issues. Last year, I ran for county commissioner. And as part of that campaign, I went around and met with a lot of the folks in county government, community corrections, the public defender, the public health department, public works. And I also stopped at the shelter and met the executive director and toured the facility. And I did not know we had a shelter in Floyd County. I think lots of people don't know that we have a shelter in Floyd County. It helps children who have either been involved with the police or their family situation is not stable. I mean, these are kids who are really at a desperate moment in their lives and they need help. And the shelter is where they get that help. The shelter gives them a place to stay. It helps them get to school. It provides counseling and other important support like that. If you've been in a traumatic situation, you can't just kind of snap out of it. You need help and support, especially if you're a young person. The shelter is doing great work. They have a sexual abuse education and prevention program that serves thousands of kids every year in Floyd County, not the ones at the shelter, but just ones out in the county. They have served 135 kids at the shelter in 2023 and 133 last year in 2024. The current problem is that the shelter is part of the Pineview Government Center, and the Pineview Government Center is an old school. And so there's a gym, which is great for the kids. There's some classrooms, there's some common areas. And so the county government has offices there, and then the shelter has a big part of the building. When I met with the director last summer, she said, I'm really worried that they're going to sell this building and we won't have a place to stay anymore. And she said, I hope that they will work with us, but I'm worried that they won't. And based on what I've read, the commissioners didn't work with the shelter, and now they have to be out in 7 months. And if you think about how long it took to find a new home for the Floyd County Health Department, it's just I don't think you could find a shelter space in 7 months. It's just unrealistic.
So shelter space, as well as all the programs involved with it. So you said you gave us the number of hundreds of people and children who've been using this shelter space. Have you been? You visited? You went into the building. What did you see there when you went?
The shelter has invested a ton of money and time and effort in making it feel more homey, if that's possible. I mean, it's an older school building. I think the building is maybe from the 50s. I'm not sure, but they've renovated the gym. The kids have a place where they can run around. There's an outdoor play space as well. There's a girls' dorm and a boys' dorm. There's some common areas. It looks like a teenager's room, right? There's posters and clothes and mess. But talking with the director is really where it hit home to me. I mean, these kids have come from, the worst situation you can imagine. Their parents are fighting. There's violence at home. Maybe there's drugs. Maybe their parents get arrested for some reason and they have no one to take care of them. I know the shelter takes in kids from other counties as well. And again, I think that this the county's trying to consolidate its buildings, so yay for fiscal management. But it really says something about your character, how you treat the most vulnerable people in your community, right? These kids, they don't vote, they don't make campaign contributions, they can't hire your brother to work at their place. So I think that the least that the commissioners can do is to make the sale of the building contingent on the shelter finding a new space. It's like when you sell your own house, right? There's that out, right? I'm going to sell you my house, but if I can't find a new one, I'm not selling you my house. And so I think it's heartless. It's unnecessary. I'm not sure why these vulnerable kids are the target of this cost cutting.
Yeah. So that seems reasonable, right? If there is a reason to move the shelter, to move the building in terms of the consolidation, fiscal responsibility, but do it in such a way that children aren't being put back out on the street after they've been given a home. It sounds like also getting these kids to school is an important part of this, getting kids the mental health services they need, and just structure is incredibly important. I also think, let me just say, it's incredibly fiscally responsible always to care for children, and instead of having children be pushed aside, be out on the street, be not educated, there's nothing more expensive to society than to put people out and then having to take care of them tenfold after you've abandoned them early. And we're seeing a lot of this going on in this kind of indiscriminate cutting. And I've said this recently, that it feels like we've been given this false choice here, where it's either more and or cut programs ruthlessly. And what those are our only two choices. I think you just described a very fiscally responsible while compassionate way forward, and we can have ways that we're being much more innovative or less lazy, just changing the programs that we have, changing the way that we do things rather than ruthlessly cutting. And so, Head Start is one of those things that we worry about. Medicaid right now, and children and their parents being off of Medicaid, all of these things that are seemingly on the chopping block that we need to protect and say, okay, instead of just cutting, can we do this differently?
And the shelter just got a $500,000 matching grant from Metro United Way for a capital project, and I'm sure that, it's going to be impossible to raise that match if they're looking for a new place to live. The shelter will just, I don't know, go out of business, I guess, if they don't have any place to help kids. I'm sure some of the support services continue, but these are just the most vulnerable people in our society. And I just think that, it's our duty. I'm glad to have my tax dollars go to pay to help these kids who have no one, literally no one to look out for them. And I think that, those of us who are fortunate.
It's a basic responsibility of man to be responsible for others, right? And I think
Yes.
government, that's the goal of government here.
Yes. To look out for kids, definitely.
So what's happening tonight, Veronica? It's on the agenda of the commission meeting.
Yes, the commissioners meet at the very place where the shelter is located. So Pineview Government Center. It's about 5 minutes from downtown New Albany. When you pull up, it will look like an old school. It's on the agenda. I know that there's been some talk from the commissioners about how, well, we gave them 180 days and they can still find a new place. And I just think that it's deceitful. They're obviously not working with the shelter director, because why would you have a grand opening? They had a ribbon cutting ceremony to announce this big grant, I think about 6 weeks ago. And then now to say, well, we don't have any place to spend this wonderful grant money that we're hopefully going to match. So 6 p.m., Pineview Government Center. You can go and sit in the audience. They're going to talk about this. I'm encouraging folks to get up and say something. There's a public comment period during the meeting. I believe it's at the end. So you can get up and say, why do we need this urgent eviction notice for the shelter? What can you do to help? And again, I think we should all say the sale should be contingent on the shelter finding a new home. And I'm actually volunteering at a 4-H meeting tonight, helping kids in our community. So I can't be there, but I've talked a lot with my friends. I'm gonna write a statement and send it in to hopefully have it read there. These kids need us to stand up for them, and I hope
Okay.
we can all show up. 6 p.m.
So
tonight, Pine View Government Center.
So the ask here is get out to this meeting, be part of the civic engagement here, see how it is that county government works, and when you're there, support. We're not asking. Sorry, I got cut off for a second. We're not asking for this building to be, or for this for Open Door to not move, but find another place, be situated in a way that it's as least disruptive to the people who live there as possible and who get sheltered there, and don't just kick people out until the program has somewhere to go.
Right, right. I think that is definitely the ask. And the county has been buying buildings left and right recently. They found a new place for the health department, which had a set of very special needs for the people that they serve and the work that they do. So if they can find a place for the health department, they should be able to find a place for the shelter. And if I just want to say this one last thing. As I said, I met with maybe leaders of 10 different departments last year, and to a person, these people want to help our community. They understand the negative sentiment toward government, but they want to help. They want to help kids who need help, people who are out of prison and want to get back into society, people who are sick. They just want to help. And they know they have to jump through lots of hoops, but this is an impossible hoop to jump through for people who just want to help kids in crisis.
Okay. Well, thank you. We just wanted to get quickly on and talk about this so we understood what's going on tonight before it happens, because it seemed to have just popped up on us all. We'll cover and talk about this in the upcoming week after the meeting tonight. Try to get some other voices and understand the issue more deeply. But at the very least, go learn about what's happening and be in the audience tonight if you can.
Right. And just listen to see what happens. That's important. That's as important as speaking up.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tim.
Have fun at 4-H tonight.
I will. Bye.
Bye.